Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore, and today I am explaining a yoga called as Mooka yoga. Mooka means going dumb or having a speech defect. So, not every yoga is easily interpreted, and this is a very tough yoga to be interpreted because we have seen that many charts show somewhere or the other difficult impairment of speech because of the second lord, but the intensity will not be always that the person will be dumb. He'll be totally silent or mute. So this is a yoga which can also refer to that level of intensity that a person can become dumb or mute. But let us understand whether this yoga stands the real test of astrological planetary placement. So, the first criteria, the only major criteria is that the second lord should be weak and should be placed in the eighth house. Now, the transformation is that what if it is placed with the eighth lord? Yes, there will be impairment, but not to the level of becoming dumb or mute. Because this is a peculiar placement that the second lord is weak and in the eighth house with the weak retrograde Jupiter. Retrograde should be weak, Jupiter should be weak and also retrograde. In some cases, I have seen that, people who are only having a retrograde Jupiter and it is not weak. Here I have given the example of a debilitated retrograded Jupiter, which is an eccentric Jupiter. But in some cases, I have seen that Jupiter is not weak, it is only retrograde, and along with the second lord or in the second house, I have seen these people have speech disorders, stammering, stuttering, very impaired flow of thought, giving rise to a lot of blank spaces when they are talking. And as they are talking, I also will be talking sometimes like that when I don't suddenly get some words, but they will have this as a regular process. It's like when they talk, like they will do like this, and they'll have this pause. So this is a very regular thing. Don't take that this is Mooka yoga. Mooka yoga here very clearly means that the person will have extreme difficulty in speech and it is a defective speech. It is very difficult for him to communicate if, that's why if I have written it is tough if the third lord and the house is also badly afflicted. Third house is for communicating. People, even dumb people also can very easily communicate because they know the art of communication. But if and there are many people who have speech but they don't know the art of communication. So now having a speech defect, having a Mukha yoga, and also having difficulties in communication, that is extremely tough. So that means if the second house or the second lord is afflicted, weak, sitting in the eighth house, and the second house is also afflicted. I have not given that criteria, but yes, the second house also, if it is affected, because the vocal cords, the sound is all represented by the second house. So let us go into this example. I have taken Mithuna Rashi, that is Gemini as the ascendant, and Moon and Jupiter in the eighth house. The second lord is in the eighth house and is aspecting the second house. Do not suddenly get into any conclusion that this is a very bad yoga. No. Only for this particular purpose, this yoga is tough. But when the second lord is aspecting the second house, obviously the second house is Dhanasthana. It will improve and this person will make a lot of money. But he may also lose sudden because of unnecessary investments, because this is the eighth house. And Jupiter is there, the lord of finance. So let us not go into that part. So I have put it in the North Indian style also with the Mithuna Lagna. We have Moon and Jupiter, and Moon is the second lord, the lord of the house of Cancer, and it is sitting in the 8th house in the 10th sign, which is Makara Rashi or Capricorn. Let us take another example. So, sorry. Here, in this example, we will take the planet Venus as the second lord. So, if I take Venus as the second lord for Mesha, that is Aries, Venus sitting in Mars nakshatra, Rashi sign, is obviously regarded very weak and tough placement for Venus. 8th house Venus is a very tough placement, and along with that, 8th house Jupiter is considered very tough. So let us say we have Jupiter, but Jupiter here in its friend's house, it is not weak, and being retrograde, it is a kind of eccentrically strong. What if I combust that Jupiter? It doesn't become retrograde then. So I cannot combust Jupiter here. I'll put Ketu. While giving examples, we can get carried away with regard to the retrogression and Sun. So usually Jupiter gets retrograde in particular parts only, away from Sun and near to Earth. So this is a combination of Muka Yoga. Ketu purely is a planet of silence, and it is the signifier of becoming mute. And there are some mute Rashis. I have explained the Rashi Karakattvas, that is the significations of the Rashis in my, I think, very early, that is in the first 5 years back. Yeah. 2021, I explained about the Rashi Karakattvas. If you go in those Rashi Karakattvas, that is the significations of the signs, you will find some signs have a loud voice, some signs are mute signs. So you need to take those list of mute signs and see whether it matches with the chart, and then analyze the chart. If Ketu's influence is there on a retro Jupiter, that itself is a very tough combination. And if the second lord and the 8th house are also mixed up with that, then Mukha yoga is a very tough yoga to handle. So, thank you very much for today's class.